ปลอดภัยดีนะครับเดี๋ยวเราจะทำการช่วยเหลือต่อไปนะครับ
On May 20th, 2026, in the mountains of central Laos, 7 village men entered a narrow cave in Xaisomboun province. They were not prepared for what the rain would do next, or how quickly a familiar passage could become a sealed, flooded trap. Xaisomboun province lies roughly 120 kilometers north of Vientiane, in rugged country where jungle hills rise over remote villages and old mineral workings. The cave involved in this rescue was not a tourist cave with lights, railings, or clear paths. It was muddy, cramped, partly man-made, and linked to local searches for food and valuable minerals. Reports first described the men as gold prospectors. Later, one survivor said the group had gone in to hunt bats, and then saw a chance to collect gold from old mining areas. There were 7 of them. All were Lao nationals, local men used to hard conditions, not trained cave divers or rescue specialists. They moved into a place where the greatest danger was not just darkness, it was water. In limestone and mining cavities, rain above ground can vanish into cracks, shafts, and side passages, then reappear underground as a sudden wall of floodwater. A dry route can become a sump, a completely submerged section, in minutes. The layout made the risk worse. Rescuers would later describe passages so narrow that trained divers had to remove or adjust equipment to squeeze through. Some sections were muddy, sharp, unstable, and filled with water the color of coffee. Visibility could drop to almost nothing. There were tight restrictions, rock edges, sediment, and a main entrance vulnerable to flash flooding. Once the rain came, the cave would become a machine for trapping people. The men went in with a practical goal: find food, search mineral areas, and come back out. Their route took them away from daylight and into a tunnel system where distance is deceptive. 300 meters underground does not sound far on a road. Inside a flooded cave, 300 meters can mean black water, crawling, cold rock, and no simple way to turn around. At first, there was no public sign that anything had gone wrong. The men pushed deeper through chambers and constrictions, following passages that likely felt known enough to risk. Imagine you are one of them. Your lamp throws a small circle against wet stone. The cave absorbs every sound except footsteps, breathing, and dripping water. Behind you, the exit is still there. Then, rain began to change the equation above ground. In mountain caves, the people inside do not always hear the first warning. Water may gather in hidden channels before it reaches the passage. Sediment begins moving. Small trickles become brown streams. By the time someone notices the water rising at the route back, the decision window may already be closing. Sometime after the group entered, heavy rain triggered flash flooding. The water moved through the cave and blocked the main exit. Reports also described landslide debris and sediment complicating access. The men were now cut off. One villager managed to escape and alert authorities. That single escape changed everything, because without him, rescuers may not have known where to begin. But for the others inside, the situation was about to worsen. The trapped men appear to have split or ended up in different parts of the system. 5 would later be found alive on a rocky ledge about 300 meters from the cave mouth. 2 others were believed to have gone deeper. That detail became critical. In a cave rescue, a few extra meters can separate a survivable chamber from a place no diver can safely enter. For days, the search became a fight against water, mud, and time. Lao rescue teams were joined by volunteers from Thailand, including cave specialists, connected to the 2018 Tham Luang rescue, where 12 boys and their soccer coach were saved from a flooded cave in northern Thailand. The comparison was unavoidable, but this cave presented a different kind of cruelty. It was shorter in known distance, yet tighter, rougher, and more unstable. On May 25th, Thai rescuers joined the operation. Specialists including Kengka Bongkawong, Norased Palasing, and Finnish diver Mikko Pasi became part of an expanding international effort. More divers and rescue experts came from Finland, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, France, Australia, and elsewhere. But experience only made the danger clearer. Rescuers pumped water, cleared obstructions, and tried to force a path through muddy, flooded restrictions. At one point, teams reportedly broke through about 15 meters of blockage in a day, only to face more water ahead. Inside, divers had to plan every movement. A mistake in open water gives you room to recover. In a passage barely wide enough for a body and tanks, a mistake can pin you in place. On May 27th, after more than a week, divers found 5 men
คนปลอด
alive.
ภัยดีนะครับ
They were sitting on
เราจะทำการ
rock,
ช่วยเหลือต่อไป
surrounded
นะครับ
by floodwater. They were weak, hungry, and dehydrated, but alive. Food, medicine, water, and instructions were brought in. For families outside, it was the first real hope. But hope is not rescue. Bringing them out meant moving human beings through flooded passages that frightened even experts. The first extraction came late on Friday, May 29th. A man identified in some reports as Mude was guided out by expert divers through the narrow, flooded route. Before the attempt, he had to learn enough about the breathing equipment to survive the submerged section. Then he entered the water with rescuers at his side. For 37 minutes, there was no room for panic. You can picture the helplessness of that journey. Face sealed inside a mask, body moving through black water, rock pressing close on every side. Every breath depending on gear he had only just learned to trust. When he finally emerged, muddy, weak, and alive, rescuers knew the route could be beaten. But the operation still had to change. Bringing every survivor out that way would be slow, dangerous, and dependent on conditions holding steady inside a cave that was still taking in water. So the teams kept the pumps running, trying to lower the flooded passages enough to turn an underwater evacuation into something closer to a crawl. Hour by hour, sections that had been completely blocked became barely passable. Not safe, just possible. The difference mattered, because in that cave, a few inches of falling water could open a gap for a human body, and a few inches rising again could close it. On Saturday, May 30th, as rescuers prepared for the next stage, the situation changed without warning. 4 men began making their own way out through the reduced water, crawling, squeezing, and swimming through the muddy tunnel toward the entrance. At points, there was so little space that they had to keep their faces close to the cave ceiling and wriggle through jagged gaps in total darkness. Then they appeared, wearing headlamps, covered in mud, emotional and exhausted, but alive. For a moment, the rescue site erupted in relief. But the emergency was not over. 2 men were still missing deeper inside the cave. Now the mission changed from extraction to search. The 5 survivors helped rescuers understand the layout, but the picture remained incomplete. The missing men were believed to be deeper than the ledge where the others had survived. Heavy rain returned, sending massive amounts of water into the area and forcing operations to pause. Every hour of rainfall could erase progress made by pumps. By June 1st and June 2nd, rescuers were looking for another way in. Teams searched the mountain for cracks, shafts, or dry passages that might connect to the suspected chamber. Radar scanners, satellite images, and local knowledge were used to navigate the jungle terrain. A vertical shaft raised hope after rescuers reported possible knocking sounds from deep inside. But later assessments suggested the sounds were not confirmed, and the route might be blocked by rockfall. Crews kept pumping water, digging retention ponds, and considering ventilation lines if a new route could be opened. One rescuer compared the monsoon threat to pouring water into a straw. Once the rain comes, the passage fills, and no one can get in or out. The cave is not only the place where the men are trapped, it is an active hazard, changing with every storm. As of the latest reports on June 2nd, 5 of the 7 men had survived and been taken out. 2 remained unaccounted for, believed to be somewhere deeper in the flooded system. Their fate had not been confirmed. No rescue team could simply rush forward, because the same route that might lead to them could also kill the people trying to help. Families have seen 5 men return from darkness, while 2 families continue waiting at the edge of the mountain cave.